trained in that field, really, so to speak. Pharmacists are not either. People at EPA should be. However, back in the early 80s, when I was applying for a job at EPA, the salaries were half of what the the private sector was offering. So we don't get the most intelligent people at EPA, and at the head of EPA, we don't necessarily get the most concerned people. And I'll end with that.
Okay, thank you so much. Well thought out and very knowledgeable person there, Lynn.
Absolutely. I mean, and also, discovering some of the other environmental hazards. I mean, they mentioned chlorine. I don't even want to get started on that. I mean, there are, it is not even what's deliberately put in the water. This is the other thing that we should discuss. It's, you've got chemicals like fluoride and chlorine, both carcinogens, both causing a range of problems deliberately put in the water. But you also have a lot of stuff that's just dumped in the water that comes as industrial waste and just doesn't get filtered out, and parasites, et cetera, et cetera. So whether your water is fluoridated or not, nobody should be drinking tap water.
When we come back, Lynn, at the top of the hour, in addition to more phone calls, I want to ask you, if people immediately stop taking fluoride and chlorinated waters, if they immediately stop, how long do you think it'll take before their bodies start to get better? We'll be back with you in just a moment. I'm George Norrie. This is Coast to Coast AM. And welcome to still another hour of Coast to Coast AM. I'm George Norrie with guest Lynn McTaggart. Lynn, I'm getting a lot of people sending me emails wanting to know if fluoride affects the thyroid gland at all, or the thyroid function. Does it?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, this is a really interesting new link and horrifying new link, particularly since we've known for a long time, since about the 1930s, fluoride has always been classically used to treat hyperthyroidism and thyroid tumors, because what happens is the thyroid gland, needs iodine to produce the hormone thyroxine. That's the way it works. But that when fluoride's present, the iodine is displaced, and it'll stop your thyroid from working properly and cause hypothyroidism, low thyroidism. And it also affects the parathyroid gland. But we even know that the fluoride affects the pituitary gland. So it's, we've seen a number of problems with a lot of the basic regulating glands of the body. And, of course, the thyroid is, regulates the whole metabolic rate. So it's really, really important. And
apparently, even at very low levels, fluoride can affect the thyroid function.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, I think this is the case with everything, whether it's osteoporosis, cancer, or whatever. We always have to remember that this is a bioaccumulator. It accumulates over time, and it reaches toxic levels as you age. So it may not be the stuff you're drinking in the water now that's a problem. It may be the stuff you drank 10 years ago that can accumulate in your body and cause problems.
And that's what I want to ask you. How long does it take to get out of your system, realistically?
Well,
if I stop today.
Good news for you, but it takes about 9 years. It's, as I say, it accumulates over time, and you find that it might be stored in bone for for a very long time before being released. So its half-life, the turnover rate, where it's removed, can be as long as 9 years. So, as I say, what might be, you may get symptoms appearing now, but it may have been much earlier exposure that caused it. So this is why it's so important not to increase your exposure by any means.
You can't do a quick detox then, huh?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, sadly, I don't think chelators chelators work with things like metals, like mercury, things like DMSA. But you could do a detox program. I mean, you could try doing things like MSM, which take a lot of things out of the body. You can do saunas. You can try I think a good diet and supplement program will always help everybody. Chlorella, things like that, remove certainly metals from the body, but not necessarily fluoride. But I think that you need to immediately stop your exposure to it.
All right.
And improve your diet, and that certainly can help.
Let's go to our wild card line, Lynn. You are on Coast to Coast. Hi there.
Hi. Is this George?
It is. I hope so.
Sorry, I'm nervous.
That's right.
This is great. I think you're great. I'm Cherie from Juneau, Alaska, listening to you on KINY.
Your name was Cherie?
Cherie.
Cherie.
Yeah, it's French. And I want to ask your guest there, Linda, they just put fluoride in our system starting today here in Alaska.
Oh.
And we did not want it, but they're doing it anyways. They say they're looking into it, but they started today. So I was looking into filters, and that reverse osmosis system,
Mm-hmm.
they said that it wouldn't work because the chlorine would damage the membrane unless we had a way to take the chlorine out of the water before using that system. And we have a lot of chlorine here, too. Is that true?
Well, I haven't heard that. I mean, I've always heard that that reverse osmosis systems will take out everything, and they're designed to take out things like chlorine. It may be that you've got an awful lot there. You know, they may have an incredible amount up there.
They do. It burns my eyes sometimes in the shower.
Oh, gosh.
It's bad.
Well, I mean, in that, you know, it's an expensive option, but then the other possibility is looking into the idea of a good spring water, a true spring water that gets delivered to your house.
Oh, okay. Is there
You know,
anything
you
we
can get them in little systems where they deliver big bottles, and you put it on it, and they give you a stand, and it just sits on your stand. But you've got to really investigate where the water's coming from, and it's got to be true spring water.
Well, how about this too, Lynn? You get one of those special carbon type filters that help that take out some of the chlorine. Maybe she can have that put at the intake of where the water comes into her house, just to reduce it, and then reverse osmose the rest under her sink. Possible?
That's a great idea, George. I think a double process like that might really work.
And is there anything we could do to counter affect fluoride?
Well, I think, you know, it's this whole idea of don't take any more in. You know, don't have fluoride in your toothpaste and your dental products. Avoid the kinds of drugs that contain it. Make sure that you're eating organic food when you can, so you're not taking it in with the pesticides. Don't take drugs like Prozac. Those sorts of things, plus a good, healthy, you know, organic diet and supplement program. For kids, one of the easiest ways of preventing dental tooth decay is have them eat some fruit after dinner.
Oh, really?
That gives them the acid in the teeth, the acid in the mouth that helps to get rid of bacteria in the mouth. I mean, there have even been studies showing kids taking an apple a day after a meal prevents tooth decay. There was a very good study of that. So, you know, things like that, simple, and, you know, brushing their teeth without fluoride, simple measures can prevent tooth decay and get rid of excess fluoride.
Okay.
And there's nothing like a good supplement
Thanks for your
program.
call, Cherie.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, yeah, and that's what I'd recommend. She needs a double dose there, I think. West of the Rockies, you're on Coast to Coast. Hi there.
Yeah, hello, hey. George and Lynn, you guys, I used to talk to Art Bell when he was on, and now it's you guys. Listen, I've got one thing. I don't know if Lynn mentioned it. I was out catching night crawlers for a fishing trip, but on the fluoride, is it not true that on fluoride that you can, under certain quantities, mind control? In other words, you can inhibit the mind, that you can make people do or believe what you want them to believe under certain circumstances?
Well, what I know is that it certainly affects the brain. I mean, the studies that we do show that it's that the more fluoride you get, the dumber you are. I mean, it does definitely cause problems with IQ. But the studies that we do have show it causes behavioral problems, may increase violence, certainly increases hyperactivity and things like that. So I would have thought that people would have more behavior problems rather than being docile.
That could very well be. Just You know, this case with a call just came from Alaska, Lynn. I mean, today they approve it and get it in there. I wonder what kind of studies they undertook to do this. Surely they would have had people come up and say, this is wrong. I guess not, huh?
Well, I mean, this is the thing that's really infuriating, because as I say, if you look at the studies all together, and there's huge numbers of, of studies and medical evidence that